This month in our Extraordinary Stories from Ordinary People series, I have pleasure in introducing Linda Watson, a family friend that I've known for many years. Linda is married to Ian and they have 3 children and 3 grandchildren. She is a woman of many talents and great resilience who's spent a lifetime walking with God. But I'll let her tell her own story. So it's great to have Linda with us. Thank you for coming, Linda, and we look forward to listening to you now.
I love stories. My whole life I've loved to hear a good story. I remember at school when the teacher stopped teaching sometimes and they would tell us a story, and I loved that. I remember sometimes we would try and get her to stop teaching so that we could just get another story. I remember my dad sometimes would tell us a great wee story before he put us to bed. Stories can make us laugh or make us cry. I love meeting people too and hearing their stories. Strange to think that we've all got a story to tell. I don't actually have any exciting hobbies or dangerous pastimes or anything extraordinary. In fact, my favourite thing in life is going out for a coffee. But when I go out for a coffee, I love to go with somebody, and I love to hear what's happening in their story, and I love to share stories with other people. Part of my story in childhood was that I was taken to church and I heard stories there from the Bible. I remember in particular that I used to go to a children's meeting where people would tell us stories, all sorts of stories from the Bible. I absolutely loved them. A lot of them involved battles. Some of them, everything was going wrong right to the last minute and God would save them. I remember there were love stories. I remember there were stories where people did the most amazing, daring things. When I was an adult, I grew up. As Matthew said in his introduction, I got married. I had 3 children and I loved telling my children stories, particularly stories out of the Bible. And they love to listen to them, and now I tell my grandchildren stories. I was particularly interested, I grew up, in the stories that Jesus told. Not just in the stories he told, but in the things he said about himself. One of the interesting things he said about himself was that he came that we would have life in all its fullness. And there was times when I was going through life that I didn't really feel that I did have life in all its fullness. In fact, life at times just seemed a real struggle. It just seemed something that you had to get through. It certainly didn't feel brilliant and full of everything that was good in the way that I imagined Jesus had promised. And then I listened to something else that he said. He said that he came to bring good news to the poor, and he said that he came to bind up the brokenhearted. Like so many people that I meet when I have a coffee, I know what it is to feel poor. I know what it is to feel crushed and beaten. I know what it is to feel as though I'm struggling, and I know what it is to have had my heart broken. And only Jesus can mend it. In the course of my life, I've had a great many things that this world has to offer. I had a great career, which I enjoyed very much. And I met people with amazing stories there. I've had money. I've had wonderful holidays. I've had a beautiful home. I've had a great family. But none of them could mend a broken heart. And so I came to Jesus and took him at his word. I came because I wanted that life in all its fullness, and only he could give it. And I saw that what Jesus says is true. Only he can give us real life, nothing else. And my story today is that I want to know him better. I don't read the stories of Jesus out of duty, because I've got to, or as a kind of a good luck charm. I'm desperate to read the stories of Jesus every day because I'm desperate to know him better. And I love going to church. I love going to church to sing, but I don't go out of a sense of duty. I don't go because I think it's a kind of a respectable thing to do. I don't really think anybody does anymore. I want to go to thank Jesus. I want to go to thank him for his story. I look at the story of his birth and I want to thank him for being so humble to come here. I look at the story of his life and I want to thank him for every encounter he had with people who were just ordinary, just like me. I want to thank him for the day that he comforted two sisters when their brother died and he cried with them. I want to thank him for the times when life was just tough for people and he helped them and he comforted them and he never condemned them even when they were caught doing something wrong. I want to thank him that he went to somebody's wedding when they'd run out of wine and he gave them more. I think what an amazing person Jesus is. I want to thank him for his death and his resurrection, because through that I can speak to God, the creator of heaven and earth, and I can have peace with God because of what Jesus has done. And I want to thank Jesus for his word when he said that he would come again. He said, don't be troubled, don't be upset, I'm going to come back again. That where I am, there you'll be also. And I want to thank him that when my story here has finished, one day I'll go to be with him. And I think I'll thank him, yes, for my story, for every twist and turn that it took. But I want to meet him and thank him for his amazing story of life that he offers to everyone. One of the great things that has been a blessing in my life has been music. Again, since a child, I've loved music, and I married somebody who was a musician. And not only do I love new songs, I love some of the old songs as well. In fact, some of the old songs are making a bit of a reappearance in the church. And there's an old song, and it really is dated, but it says, tell me the old, old story of unseen things above, of Jesus and his glory, of Jesus and his love. And that's what I want to hear more and more. I want to know Jesus more. I want to hear more about things that are unseen, that we can't see or understand. But by his Spirit, he can let us know about them. And the last verse says, tell me when this world's glory is costing me too dear. Tell me the old, old story. Only Jesus can make me whole. Thank you so much for listening to my story. Whoever you are, you've got a story too. Please let Jesus into your story. Please read about Jesus in the Gospels. And please listen to what he's saying to you, because he wants to talk to you. God bless.
The old, old story of unseen things above, of Jesus and his glory, of Jesus and his love. Tell me the story simply as to a little child, for I am weak and weary and helpless and defiled. Tell me the old, old story